Hi class, this part of the instruction will be from page 127 to 130. Okay, so let's get started on page 127. On step 5, we are going to create a more attractive shoulder line. So in order to do that, we've already created our back neckline, okay? And I've marked a B here just to kind of give you a frame of reference. So to create this, we will need our triangle, and you will need to go to page 125, picking step number measurement 4, and you'll insert that in the blank. You're marking a short perpendicular line using the triangle square, and you're going to mark it down 1.5 inches, okay? So my measurement number 4 went over to here. And so I made a notch mark here, and that's going to be a shoulder notch, right? I'm going to go down from this point. I'm going to go down 1.5 inches and make another mark. This mark right here will be a shoulder notch, and you'll need that when you put your fabric pieces together. So you may want to make a little note for that. And I've just handwritten that in. Okay, so that's your shoulder notch. Now we're going to adjust our shoulder. Now to do that, we're going to use this notch that we've created, and we're going to connect B. While it's already on my pattern, you may not have it yet on yours. To do that, we are going to use, instead of the hip curve, we are going to use the French curve ruler, and we're going to use this inside section here. I'm going to use the point here, so I have my longest section, and I'm going to connect that notch with point B, which is where it went up to a point on the back neck. So again, I'm going to line this up here. I'm going to find a spot on my ruler here that connects with B. Then I'm going to draw that in. I will now label that upper shoulder. Now, we now have an adjusted shoulder line, so you can just score through each of the shoulder line, the first one that we created. To do the adjusted shoulder, we came down 1.5 inches, so I need a perpendicular line 1.5 inches down from the shoulder line. So I will now take my ruler and I will measure over 1.5 inches, and I will make sure it's totally lined up and perpendicular with my ruler, and then I'm going to draw a line, and I will continue across using my shoulder line as my guide, where I will measure down 1.5 inches to create that perpendicular line. Now that will complete, and you will label that adjusted shoulder line. That will complete page 129. 128. We're now on to 129. So on 129, we're going to create the sleeve edge. Let me adjust my paper. So to create the sleeve, to figure out where should the sleeve edge be, we have to first measure the length of our garment. Now, this pattern piece, just to give you a frame of reference, is from the center back to your sleeve edge. So that's half the body of the back, and that is what we are drafting, okay? Just to give you a frame of reference. So page 129, step 6, you will put the total measurement that you have chosen, where it was elbow to elbow, wrist to wrist, whatever that measurement was, put that in the first blank, divide it by 2. I don't care if you use a calculator. Place that measurement into the next blank. Take that half measurement you just figured out, and you are going to measure from center back all the way over to whatever that measurement is, and make a little mark. Okay? I'm now just running it along the adjusted shoulder line. Now, that is the length of our sleeve that we're going to do. Now, we need to figure out how wide our sleeve is. So to do how wide our sleeve is, I need to make sure that I can get my hand through the sleeve because I don't have a stretch fabric. So I at least need to have something at minimal that's going to be whatever that distance around plus another 1/2 inch to 1 inch. Okay. We can taper the sleeve down if that's the look you want, or we can make it just straight across in the sleeve. So you might also want to check and keep in mind what's the largest part of your arm, what's the distance around that, and then add 1 inch for ease. Okay, so I have determined that my sleeve edge width, which is right here, will be this long, and I've made a notch now, or I'm sorry, I've made a little mark here, okay? And I believe that puts us at page 130. So we are now going to be working on the princess line and the chest line. So the princess line is all the way back over by center back line. So to create that, again, we are not using our L square. We're going to use our combination of triangle and our plastic ruler. So to mark the upper shoulder, you mark the center of the upper shoulder line. So let me go over that again. So if I can just zoom in just like that, I'm going to go from that little B point where it went up, and I'm going to measure over to where I made that notch. Whatever that measurement is, I'm going to divide it in half. Now I'm going to measure from B, that half measurement I just figured out, and I'm going to make a little mark. Okay? Now I need to go to figure the rest of the princess line out, I need to go back to page 125 as it says in the textbook, looking at the measurement number 6 that we made. From this little mark you just made, you will measure down what that measurement is and make another mark. You will now use your, using your triangle. You will make that, you need to make a perpendicular line that goes all the way down, which means it needs to be the same distance from either the paper edge or the center back all the way over to this line. So start it off, you can use the shoulder line and get your nice right angle started. Draw your line. Now from there you can just measure over, whether you use the triangle or the ruler, figure out what your measurement is, and just measure over, and then connect your lines. Double check yourself when you're done. Is it the same measurement from the princess line over to either the center back line to the center back line? And measure down in a couple places to make sure that you haven't wavered anything on your princess line right here. And you will label this line princess line. Now we will do the chest line. Now to find the chest line, that's step 9. You are going to go back to 125. You're going to look at number 2 and you're going to write that in that blank. Now we are going to measure down from this mark right here. Remember the little half mid-shoulder mark? We're now going to measure down what that chest measurement is, or I'm sorry, the shoulder to apex measurement is. We're going to make a mark, and then we are going to take our triangle. We're going to use it, center it on, or brace it on the back of the center back line. Match it up with the mark that I just made, or you just made, and you will score out or draw out a line and just continue it out from there. And that is the end of page 130. We'll pick up on 130 in class, 31 in class.